Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our World Retina Day webinar. Just to quickly give you some of the rules, I'm Claudette, I'm one of the moderators. Questions will be answered at the end of the talks. Use the Q&A or chat button or access chat with the Alt+H keys. To raise your hand during the Q&A session, please use the raise your hand button or Alt+Y keys. To mute, unmute your microphone, you can use the button or Alt+A keys. To switch your camera on or off, you can use the button or the Alt+V keys. This webinar will be recorded and will be available on the Retina SA YouTube channel at www.retinasa.org.za in a couple of days. Go to the main heading Learn, scroll down to Webinars and scroll to find the webinar of choice. Thank you very much. And we're now going to our webinar. I would like to introduce you to our chairman, who's our host. And just to remind you that at Retina South Africa, we provide services to patients with retinal disease. And now to introduce our chairman, who is Manny Moodley. And for those of you who can't see, there's a beautiful picture, well, a picture with him and his beautiful wife at their wedding. And Manny is an amazing person. He's actually probably the person who's joined Retina South Africa at the youngest age, because when he was diagnosed with Stargardt's at 11, he joined Retina South Africa at 12. He's attended the Retina International Congress in the Netherlands as part of our youth delegation. He was admitted as an attorney in 2013. He joined the Western Cape branch and the NMC at the age of 25, probably the youngest. He has served as the National Vice Chair of Retina South Africa and was elected chair this year. And without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Manny. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you very much, Claudette, for that wonderful introduction and for setting up this Zoom webinar. And thank you for all of those who are watching across the various platforms that we are streaming on. I would like to welcome you all to this very important webinar on World Retina Day. World Retina Day is a day that is celebrated internationally, and it brings together patients, clinicians, medical professionals, support groups, and all sorts of organizations with a focus on retinal disorders. This day is extremely important on our eye care awareness calendar, as we at Retina South Africa are focused on retinal disorders. So this day allows for everyone to contribute and raise awareness and promote advocacy for these organizations and retinal disorders. This year's theme for World Retina Day is Love Your Eyes, which is extremely important. It essentially promotes people to take care of their eyes and protect their eyes and their vision from a very harsh world out there. And today we have a very interesting webinar for you, where we will be splitting it into two sections. A Love Your Eyes section, which will deal with how to protect and love your eyes, and followed by a Love Your Life section, where we have some very inspiring speakers who will be providing us with some great information about their personal journey through vision loss and all of their great achievements, notwithstanding that vision loss. So we are very excited to welcome you today to this wonderful webinar. Well, without further ado, I would like to jump straight into the first section of our webinar, which is Love Your Eyes. And this will be run by Claudette Medefindt, who is the head of science of Retina South Africa, as well as Karen Denton, who is the head of our education and advocacy at Retina South Africa. And yeah, we're very, very glad to have them on board with their vast experience within the scientific and medical aspects of the retinal disorders. They will lead us on a very interesting presentation. So yes, thank you all again. And we will be taking questions at the end of the webinar. after the Love Your Eyes and Love Your Life sessions. And if you can't get through to us via the chat function on Zoom, please pop us an email and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Without further ado, Karen, Claudette, welcome and take it away.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your introduction, Manny. And as you know, both of us are very proud to be part of Retina South Africa, where we work very, very closely together. As we get started, I just want to acknowledge that our education activities are supported by an unconditional educational grant from Bayer South Africa. And as Manny mentioned just now, we are going to be talking about Love Your Eyes. And to cover this, we have posed 10 questions to people on the media, in various platforms, even at the Mini Rand show that's happening in Johannesburg at the moment. And these questions revolve around, do you love your eyes? And let's see by answering these questions if you really do. And the first question is, do you have annual eye checks? Because this is so important. There are so many conditions that can only be detected by a professional. And these are often picked up years before the person is even aware that something is developing in their lives. And do you know that 20% of people who are diagnosed with diabetes already have retinopathy, and they are not even aware of it. They're often not aware that they have diabetes, and they're certainly not aware that they're getting eye damage. So early intervention, that annual visit, is essential for you to be able to save your sight. And this brings us to the next question. Are you a non-smoker? And I know the very easy answer to that is Muni Rotne, but let's have a little bit further of a look. Everybody knows how damaging smoking is for especially the lungs. But our message today is, please stub out your cigarette and not your vision. Those cigarettes are not only damaging your lungs, your heart, your blood vessels, everything else. The effect on the little blood vessels and on the retina is incredibly dramatic and awful. And here are just two pictures that we picked up of damage to the little blood vessels in the retina and to the retina itself. And this is purely due to smoking. So macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, dry eye syndrome, all these things are attributed to smoking. So if you love your eyes, please stub out those cigarettes. Over to you, Claude.
And do you have enough sleep? And people always say, well, what's sleep got to do with it? But of course, I don't know if you know that you're born with your complete complement of photoreceptors. You don't grow new ones. But when you are in deep sleep, in those hours between 11 and 3 o'clock in the morning, the discs within your photoreceptors are regenerated. In other words, all the nutrients and the new discs are formed in those full complement of photoreceptors. So you need your sleep to renew your photoreceptors, but you also need your sleep to regenerate your brain. You know, your brain cleanses itself in those hours of deep sleep, and also for your memory. Memories are converted from short-term to long-term memory during those deep hours of sleep. So don't fool yourself. You need about 6 or 7 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, so I agree, Claude. We all need to sleep more. And that then brings us on to another question. And this is control of certain parameters that could be affecting your health very dramatically and your eyes. Do you have controlled blood pressure? Do you even know? Have you had it checked? Do you have controlled cholesterol or tummy fat? And this is a very important one, because that tummy fat is a very early indicator. And you'll notice in the picture here that the guy is actually quite slender. But if you have a bit of a developing midriff, we know you're getting into trouble. And this is what happens in the end. Before you even know that you have diabetes, you end up with eye problems that we've mentioned before, heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, and amputations. All of these horrific things that are related to and are picked up at the earliest stage by that little bit of a book that's developing early on. So if you have a bit of a book, if your waistline is a little bit thicker than your hips, we know that you need to do something about it. Because unfortunately, as I mentioned before, people are unaware that so much damage is happening to the eye. And because it happens mostly around the periphery in these cases, people don't know until it is too late. So it's very, very important to intervene at a very early age and get all of those things under control. And one of the things that we need to do is to exercise regularly. Now, you don't have to go out and run marathons. You don't have to get absolutely carried away, because one of the most important types of exercise, and you can speak to Claudette a lot about this, she is a yoga teacher, is yoga exercises improve your eyesight. Moving improves your eyesight, because what exercise does is not only does it create more insulin in your body to function, but it helps that insulin to function properly. Because if you are not exercising, your insulin, we can say, becomes lazy, it doesn't work properly, and you will end up with all kinds of major problems. And then Claudette is going to speak to us about our diet.
Wow, that is so important. And I think we need to take diet out of it, because people think, oh, I can't go on diet. We want you just to make healthy choices about what you eat. You need a colorful diet, because all those green, orange, yellow, and purple vegetables contain lots of vitamins, but especially antioxidants. And antioxidants will help to actually combat oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is caused by all the things that we shouldn't do, that we know we do. And the most important group of vegetables for anybody with a inherited retinal degeneration is called, of course, the green leafy vegetables, because they contain a very special group of antioxidants. And these are the carotenoids, and they are lutein, zeaxanthin, alpha-lipoic acid, and L-glutathione, and all of these protect your macula, your central retina. And in fact, people who've got low macular pigment often have got a low level of lutein and zeaxanthin. So yes, eat a healthy diet, and also, of course, avoid too many simple carbohydrates and avoid too much red meat. We all know what we should eat. And in fact, all you have to do is put it into practice. You know, your diet is a bank account, and good food choices are good investments. And we laughed today because somebody said, we always say moderation in all things. And a very knowledgeable nurse who herself has got diabetes said, no, if you have a moderate diet, you're going to end up with moderate health. So have a really good, healthy diet, and you will end up with a good, healthy body and healthy vision.
Exactly. And then that brings us on to another topic that's actually very relevant at the moment, because blue light is very topical at the moment, because of the amount of time that we spend at home behind our screens, etc., etc. Now, we all know that when you go out into the sun, you need to protect your eyes with good UV glasses, and that you should wear a hat to protect your eye, especially when your shadow is shorter than you are. When your shadow is longer than you are, you're a little bit safer. But the blue light that comes from TVs, from computers, from your devices, your iPhone, your tablets, is extremely damaging. It is of the kind of wavelength that goes straight through onto the macula and starts to burn it. and a lot slower than the way it would if you look directly into the sun, but the damage is fairly similar. So the message then is, don't stare at your screen, your TV, etc., all day long. And we have a little rule: every 20 minutes, look away for at least 20 meters for 20 seconds to give your eyes a chance to reset, and then you can look back at whichever screen it is that you're looking at.
And then, do you control your stress? And people say, oh yeah, we've just come, well, we're still in a pandemic and we isolated, we stuck at home. We've got, perhaps people have lost jobs. We have children at home trying to homeschool them. Everybody is stressed. And what does stress have to do with your vision? Well, again, it leads to that oxidative stress, and your body doesn't function well. Your immune system doesn't function well. Your liver, your kidneys don't function well. Even your pancreas can be affected by stress. So what you need to do is control your stress. And again, as Karen said, I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm a very unstressed person. If you tuned in the beginning, you'll see we had all sorts of problems, and I didn't freak out, which I could have. I didn't, because I just took some deep breaths. So breathing is a wonderful way to control your stress. And if you are very stressed, get some stress control: breathing, yoga, meditation, Tai Chi. You have to stop that stress cycle, and you have to remember that you choose to be stressed or not to be stressed. And you can control your stress. And you see a lady here rubbing her eyes, and that's probably the worst thing you can do. And you see so many people rubbing their eyes when they are stressed. And please don't do that. Just sit quietly, close your eyes and breathe. And do you have a healthy social life? Well, again, COVID pandemic has played havoc with our social life. Social distancing. We haven't been able to hug up the people that we love. And I'm a great hugger, and I miss hugging people. I miss that physical contact. But you can still, through learning to use social media properly, you can reach out to people and form a bubble with people who are in a similar situation to you, family members, and you know what everybody's doing, and get into a social bubble and have a healthy social life. Reach out to people, have regular Zoom meetings. And by making and maintaining your social contact, it is essential, because you can maintain that feeling of being connected in your social circle and getting rid of that feeling of isolation and fear, which leads to more stress. And I think with that, we've actually come to the end of our time. And I hope you're going to follow these 10 easy steps and make sure that your vision is as good as you can manage it to be. And I'll hand over now back to Manny.
Thank you very much, Claudette, and to Karen as well. Very interesting and very important information for us all to take on board. And yeah, I like the the great way that you guys delivered that. That was very, very nice. Well, that was the Love Your Eyes section of our webinar. And now we move on to the Love Your Life section. And as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 very inspiring speakers. And first, we have Alani Ferre, who is a record-breaking Paralympic athlete, and she swam at the Tokyo Games recently, and she's returned not too long ago. We are extremely proud of Alani and all her achievements. Alani is on our current youth portfolio team, and she also sits on the youth committee of Retina International. So welcome, Alani. Please tell us a bit more about your journey.
Thank you so much for that intro, Manny. And thank you, Claudette and Karen, for your lovely PowerPoints. I think it was stuff that even I needed reminding of, especially the stress part. But as Manny said, I am Alani Ferre. I am 23 years old. I am currently busy with my honors in business management. And I'm sure as a team will know, I'm not very good at speaking about myself. So this is definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to try my best. So that is me as a child, and I think it describes me quite well. I will get myself into any and every situation. And yeah, I think just a little hand on the hat just shows that personality shining through. But I started with visual problems when I was about 8 years old. And my mom took me to the optom every year. It was a thing since we were young. And no one could figure out what was going on. It was just a constant, hand-eye coordination problems. I can't actually be a sight. No, there's nothing wrong. And eventually, when I was 12, we got told the news that I have Stargardt's. And so that's the loss of your central vision. And I was I am still the only person in my family to have an IRD. So it was quite a shock. We didn't really know what to expect. But as we took it on board and we just tried our best to see what we could do. And please excuse me, I've got handy notes next to me just to keep me on track. So yeah, and I was actually an avid tennis player and I loved music, so I was a pianist. And that's actually how they figured out there was a problem with my eyes, because I was reacting very late to the tennis ball. And obviously after being diagnosed, I had to stop tennis because it just wasn't a thing anymore for me. I couldn't see the ball, so it became frustrating for me. So I went back to swimming, which I actually stopped at when I was 10, because I'm not a natural swimmer. And I know so many people are like, what? But I promise to you, I'm not a swimmer. I'm short, I'm stocky. The only reason I get to where I am is because I train very many hours. But anywho, when I was 13, 14, my coach at the time, I told him that I would like to go to the Paralympics in 2016. And he quite simply laughed in my face. And I don't think people realize that that's the quickest way to get me determined on a mission, is to prove you wrong. So by doing this, we made a bet that he would have to go on American Idols if I were to make the Paralympics. And as of today, I'm a 2-time Paralympian. I went in 2016 when I was in matric, and I went this year now to Tokyo as well. And it was an incredible experience, because if it wasn't for my eyes, I definitely would not have been given this opportunity to firstly go represent my country, but really just to push myself and to see what I could do. Not really getting medals and things, but time-wise and seeing really what your body can do, which I think is something that has always kept me going. And you can go on to the next slide, please. So with all the love and support I've received from my family and my school, I've been very lucky to get an education. I got my degree last year with distinction, and I'm now, as I said, doing my honors, and it's going well. And I think having that support system around me has really what has kept me going. It's not always easy, but you make the best of what you have. And as you can see, I absolutely love trying anything and everything, and hiking is something that I absolutely love. I think my eyes have definitely pushed me to do things that I normally wouldn't have done. So it's pushed me to enjoy my life and use my eyes as much as I can, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that's something I also learned at the games, was that almost more than 50% of the people were not born with a disability. So you never know what tomorrow may bring. So you really must just push yourself and see what you can do. And then you can go on to the next slide, please. And then, as you can see, I have a new addition that I received literally the day after I landed from Japan. He is my lovely yellow Labrador, for those of you who can't see. His name is Gatsby, and he is my guide dog. And one of the first things that came out of my mouth when I was diagnosed was, yes, obviously, what's going to happen, and the tears and all those things. But the next was, can I get a guide dog? And I was originally told no, because my eyesight was obviously a while off then compared to now. But I was very blessed to have gotten this little creature in my life. And I'm excited for the independence he's going to give me and the journey we are going to have together. Because obviously not having your full vision and things, your confidence can sometimes lack, which is something I have battled with. And walking into a room full of people and you obviously can't see what's going on. I think just having a little buddy next to my side, helping me get through it all, is going to make a massive difference. And I'm so excited to take on life even more with him. And yeah, hopefully he's going to be a little swimmer boy. We had him in the pool today. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what is still coming. I'm still swimming, and I'm aiming for World Champs next year and maybe Commonwealth. So yes, there's still a lot on the plate, and obviously to get my degree. But yeah, I think if there's anything, really just push yourself. Sometimes it's not going to be easy, and you are not going to want to get up early in the morning, or it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But when you get the job done, it is something that it's a feeling no one can describe. So yes, and also please do sport. Please go exercise. I've taken about a month off from swimming, and I am a mess because of stress and just not getting that release. And I went back this week and I feel so much better. So please go do exercise, even if it's just a calm walk. Please go do some exercise. But yeah, thank you for having me, Manny. And yeah, it's been great speaking to all of you.
Thank you so much for that, Alani. It's just amazing in what you've achieved. And yeah, we are really so very proud of you. And yeah, really want to see more pictures of yourself and Gatsby, the new addition to the family. It looks absolutely beautiful. So thanks again, Alani. And we now move on swiftly to our second speaker under the Love Your Life section of our webinar. And I would like to introduce you to Kgosi Mmoloke. He is also a member of the Retina South Africa committee, and he comes from a mining background. He's a mining engineer, and he is a family man who does a lot of adventurous activities. And without further ado, here we go. Kgosi, welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Kgosi Mmoloke. I'm a mining engineer by profession, and my journey with retinal disease started when I was young. When I was doing grade 1, I noticed that I had problems with my vision, and I got checked up, but it was something that spectacles could solve for a few years. And I started school, went through school, and finished up school as one of the top students, which my doctor used to question. He normally said students with my vision really struggled with school, but I managed to push it through and finish off school. And I went on to study mining engineering at the University of Johannesburg, where I completed my BTech and started my career with BHP Billiton, where I worked for 5 years, and I was medically boarded in 2016 after I was diagnosed with Cone Rod Dystrophy on both my eyes, and I was sent on retirement. But I refused to retire at such an early stage of my career. So I decided to go to business school full-time to study towards an MBA as a way of me navigating a different career path and obtaining skill sets that will allow me to contribute towards mining in a different function or in a different aspect, like entrepreneurship. So my journey, as you can see on that picture, that was during my MBA year. We had visited Google in Bryanston, the Google head office. So I think me doing the MBA program during that time of my life was one of the best things that I've ever done for myself, because I needed time to reflect and rethink my life and see where it's headed. But during that year, I did so many things that pushed me and challenged me and gave me hope. And I knew in 2017 when I was doing my MBA that there's nothing completely wrong with me, and that being visually impaired is just one little fraction of my life. And I engaged the disability unit at the business school, and they supported me throughout my program by making sure that I was accommodated and I had everything. So in my spare time, I enjoy running, which hasn't been the case since lockdown. But yeah, on this picture, I ran the Cape Town Marathon in 4 hours, 30 minutes. And I did it with the help of what we normally call a bus. So I ran with a group of guys from Cape Town who were running to create awareness of planting trees in the townships of Cape Town. And these guys supported me during the race. I was very anxious before the race because my wife couldn't make it, and I had to go to Cape Town alone and go run a marathon alone. But these guys helped me through the race, and they supported me, and I think some of them are still good friends of mine. And we can change the slide. I also enjoy playing golf. I know it's odd, but it's one of the best sports that visually impaired people can enjoy. It has taught me a lot in terms of asking for help, in terms of building good networks, and just enjoying a good Saturday morning. So how I play is I normally play with a spotter who will give me direction to the pin, as well as who will spot my ball. And I just work on getting my technique right in terms of teeing off, whether it's teeing off or putting. I just make sure that I stick to the basics that I learned when I still had a bit of vision, but I still enjoy playing golf. And I think through golf, I've made a lot of friends in business as well. And one day I would like to compete on the blind World Cup of golf, but I know my handicap is still far off, but it's one of my bucket list as well. So yes, in a nutshell, that's me. And currently I aspire to be an entrepreneur in mining. So fortunately, after my MBA, I got a job in construction, which wasn't really what I liked, but I've recently went back to mining as a business process manager, working for a junior company in mining where the boss is willing to mentor me and help me in my transition towards entrepreneurship. And currently in my workplace, I'm supported by a driver who makes sure that I go wherever I need to go, as well as staff who help me with my meetings, especially my online meetings. Sometimes if you're chairing a meeting, you miss a hand or two. I've sat down with the team and we have our ways of managing that. So that's how I function. And I wish one day that people with visual impairment will not have limitations and will be able to be integrated in any aspect of society. And I'm currently driving that mission through Retina SA, through the youth portfolio. And I've recently joined the marketing portfolio as well. And I hope that we do achieve that independence one day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kgosi. Yeah, wonderful to hear your journey. And yeah, I think really, really inspiring for sure. And yeah, we're really glad to have you on board and look forward to a really bright future ahead. And yeah, really congrats on that determination, never giving up. I think if we can take something from you, it's that never say die attitude. And yeah, thank you so much. Without further ado, we'll go to our last speaker for today under the Love Your Life section. And this is Michele McFarlane, who is a blind explorer by description. And yeah, she's involved in various activities and challenges that she's been through, and pushes herself to the limits as much as she can. And she's currently part of the parasurfing team, South African parasurfing team. So I'll hand over to Michele. Welcome, Michele.
Hello, so my name is Michele McFarlane, and I have something called Retinitis Pigmentosa, which is a genetically inherited eye disease that starts eating away your peripheral vision. So I have dominant RP, which you start getting later on in life, but unlike Alani, you can't get it unless you get it from a parent. So my dad has it and my brother has it, and it's highly likely that one of my 3 biological children might have it as well. They haven't been tested yet. We're going for genetic counseling soon, and they would like to find out if they have it. So I really had a very good think about the title of this year's World Retina Day, which is Love My Sight, Love My Eyes. It made me really think, you know, do you still love your sight? Do you still love your eyes and your life, you know, when you start losing your sight? So I've been told I have beautiful eyes as far back as I can remember. My mom said that people would stop her in the streets and say, wow, your baby's got such beautiful eyes. And I believed I had beautiful eyes, because when enough people tell you, you come to believe them. So as a teenager, when you've got all the other anxieties around your body, for me it was my short legs, my little chubby knees, and all the other things, I still loved my eyes. I still thought at least I had beautiful eyes, you know. And I also loved what my eyes could do for me, that I could see this beautiful world. And I love to do art. I still love to do art, and I would paint everything that I see around me, and I would write about the things I saw. At that stage, I didn't realize that there was anything wrong with my eyes or anyone in my family. My dad hadn't even been diagnosed at that point. I loved the way that my eyes allowed me to navigate through the world, that I could leap from wall to wall and run at speed and that kind of thing. So when I started losing my sight in about my early 30s, I noticed I started bumping into things and having accidents and knocking wine glasses over, etc. I went for a visual field test, and I was diagnosed as having 40 degrees of my sight left. I now have 7 degrees. At that stage, it was just utterly devastating, because it was advised for me to give up driving, another thing that I loved. And that was incredibly hard for me. So I went home and cried a lot, like one of those ugly cries, you know, that leaves you with a blotchy face and everything. And just the sheer fear, knowing that, you know, with these inherited deteriorating eye diseases, that it's actually leading towards blindness, that really took a real hold of me, you know, that like, what if I don't see that fly in the suit kind of thing, you know, all sorts of things. Some of them that have, you know, actually come true, like stepping in dog poop and with bare feet, that kind of thing, not the best RP moment. But anyway, I decided to go back to judo. I just had this real desire to get back onto the mat. It was something I did in my childhood. By that time, I had 3 children, and I hadn't done judo for like 15 years. But I went back onto the mat, and the day that I got back onto the mat, I decided I was going to compete again, which I did. And I went to the Judo Nationals, and in Durban, I got silver, which I was quite proud of in my category. And yeah, that kind of set me on a road to setting myself regular challenges. And I found that doing the challenges gave me grit and resilience in a world that's actually quite hard when you're going blind or with any disability. And after that, I went back. I also did bodybuilding. I did fitness competition, which was the previous slide that you saw. And in the slide that's up now, I did a hike through Venda, which was a lot harder than it sounds when you have such limited eyesight. I had to follow, you can see I'm crossing a river there, and I had to follow the person's feet in front of me. And I'm actually at the back of the line there. And I just had to follow the person's feet, and because that's all I could see. So I didn't see all of the rocks and water and everything on either side until we actually stopped and I could look around. So in many ways, that was quite hazardous. If you see the cliff behind, we actually had to scale a cliff like that as well. And I had the guide in front of me told me where to put my hands, and the person behind me told me where to put my feet. So, but I did it, and I really loved it. And it's probably the last hike I'll be able to do like that, because I've lost quite a bit of sight since then, even in the last couple of years. So at the moment, my current challenge is, I left out another challenge. You can go on to the next slide probably, which was way scarier than Venda, or it was a lot more frightening than being on stage in front of over 1,000 people. So this was the Retina South Africa Rift Jeans concert, and I did it to just raise some awareness. And in the lead up towards it, I asked people on Facebook what song they thought I should sing, and I kept videoing clips in the lead up to the event, in the hope of just creating some interest in the event. And it was terrifying because there were a lot of absolutely brilliant artists. Everyone on the stage was brilliant. And then there was me, who had never sung on stage, but I did it as a challenge, and that was absolutely terrifying. And but everyone was so supportive, and the singers backstage and everything. And it gave me a chance again to speak on social media about Retina South Africa, and to write about it as well. So my current challenge is surfing, and there's my youngest daughter on the right, Emmy, who's adopted, and she actually got me into surfing. She started surfing, and I just thought, I'd love to do that, but there'll be no way, because I was so blind by the time I started, which was 2019, that I just didn't believe I could do it. It would be a hazard. I mean, the ones that I tried bodyboarding, I just went flying straight into someone because I just did not see her. So I actually just Googled disability surfing and Cape Town. And then the Roxy Davis Surf Foundation came up, and they run surf workshops. They've got a clinic tomorrow, and they do them every 2 weeks, and they are completely free for anyone with any kind of disability, and they are absolutely amazing. So I went to my first workshop, and I had like 4 volunteers on either side of me and a head coach, and they got me out onto the wave, and I had this big whiteboard, and they got me standing, and they cheered me on like I was, you know, an absolute rock star, like I'd just won the Olympics or something. And yeah, it was amazing. So I thought, wow, I've got my next challenge. And I asked Roxy if I could compete, and she said she never says no to a question like that. And yeah, so since then, unfortunately over lockdown, I couldn't do any kind of surfing because the beaches were closed, but I still managed to do the Western Province surfing competition and the nationals. And now in December, I'm going to be surfing in the World Parasurf Championships in California, if I manage to raise funds. So yeah, so I'm part of that team, which I'm very excited about. Alani, watching you are such an incredible inspiration. It's just made me realize I need to seriously up my game and really increase my training. because I'm actually quite lazy, and plus I need to I need to get my game on and start working. Alani, you're such an inspiration, really. So thank you for that. And yeah, so what I find is that going blind actually really sucks. It's really hard, and this is why Retina South Africa is so important, and this is why I speak about it in every single opportunity. So one of the main reasons I do these challenges is because it gives me a platform, it creates an interest so that I can speak about the things that are important, like Retina South Africa, because they are there to end, to put the research into ending inherited retinal blindness. So I write articles, and then they're published. I've had 4 articles published in Fair Lady so far. Every single time I talk about Retina South Africa. And I also mention the Roxy Davis Foundation. And now I'll also be speaking about Made for More, who help other surfers, and Shayla Stokes. So I see myself not as the best athlete, but as a purpose-driven athlete. And to hopefully inspire people to see that, even when you're losing your sight, you can still really love your life. So next picture. So there are some people at Retina, some of the Retina South Africa group in the Western Cape, and that is at UCT in the genetics department. And yeah, we just had a little tour there, and it really highlights the incredible work being done by exceptional people. So yeah, I always keep talking about that, not as in depth as like Claudette and Karen, but with enthusiasm. So next picture. So as I said, going blind is really hard, and I think the thing that I find the hardest, and probably most people who are going blind, aren't the sort of banged shins and everything, but the attitude of ignorant members of the public. I think the most frustrating thing we hear is when we got out of the cane or whatever it is, but you don't look blind, and it drives me crazy. But because of my family, I realized, and other people going blind, I realized that I have to do things to expand my life rather than reduce my life, like going out still. There I'm going to a gallery. I can only see things in sections, that it's to still enjoy what you're able to. Next picture. So yeah, as I said, I feel it's my duty to love my life, love my eyes. Thank you, Karen and Claudette, for all the advice you've given, because yeah, I will certainly be passing that on to my kids. I mean, if I look at my brother and I, well, let me just speak for myself. I certainly didn't look after my eyes enough when I was younger. There was lots of being out in the sunshine, and okay, I hope my mom's not watching this. And yeah, so I didn't look after them probably as well as I should have. So that's very important. Maybe my eyesight deterioration would have gone slower. But yeah, they're in the final picture are my eyes now. A little bit more tired than when I was younger, but and the sight is reduced, but I still love my eyes. I still love my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michele. Yeah, that was wonderful. Yeah, it's really quite a journey, and quite a lot of I think amazing activities and memories created along that journey, from what we can hear. So yeah, we are really proud to have you as going out there and doing your thing, and yeah, challenging yourself. It's really inspiring to all of us. And yeah, I think it's just a great group of speakers, and the 3 of you are Alani, Kgosi, and Michele. extremely inspiring to all of us. And we hope that our members and other people that follow what Retina South Africa are doing will see this as what it is, such great inspiration, and the fact that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to, no matter your vision. However, as Claudette and Karen mentioned, that doesn't mean that you should just let your vision get worse. One needs to love your eyes and take care of your eyes, because vision is something that you really only miss once it's gone, or once it starts going, and then it's extremely difficult, or in some cases impossible to get back. But yes, thank you to the speakers, and thank you all for your participation today. It was really amazing to hear your stories. So I think at this point we are scheduled to open up for questions. Any questions from your side that you've picked up?
There don't seem to be questions at the moment,
Okay.
but I do have a question for, in fact, all three. Maybe we can start with Alani. When you go to something like the Paralympic Games, like in Tokyo, and once again, congratulations, Alani, on being now the Pan-Africa record holder. That was an amazing achievement. We were also excited when you did that. But there must be a tremendous amount of stress as you're preparing for the next huge swim, knowing that the entire world is watching you. Millions of people have logged in online around the world to watch. How do you deal with that kind of stress?
I think it comes with experience. So my first race in 2016, I actually barely flopped into the pool because my legs were numb from just sheer panic. So I think it definitely comes with doing more international racing. And I think when you get, well, for me now, when I get behind the block, the people watching is the last thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, okay, I've got whatever race I'm going to swim, I need to do X, Y, and Z. I need to try to focus on A, B, and C. And so I think by doing mental training and visualization and things like that before my race, I don't even think of the amount of people watching or the crowds that are shouting or anything. You're so focused on your race that you literally don't even hear the people. So yeah, luckily I've learned to deal with, but I think, yeah, at the beginning was definitely something very scary.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I think I would be absolutely petrified. I don't think I could do it. I think there is a question. Oh, it's from Alta. Wow, Alani, Kgosi, and Michele, you are awesome. Loved your inspiring stories. That's from Alta in Port Elizabeth.
Thank you, Alta.
And if you have any further question, just pop it into the chat below. Thank you.
Thanks, Alta.
And Alani, just a quick comment. When they announced while you were still in the pool that you had just broken this massive record, didn't you just about faint? I just about fainted watching it.
Yeah, I actually had mixed emotions, because me being myself, I was expecting better from myself, from what we were doing in training and the preparation before. I was meant to go a faster time. So even though it was an amazing achievement, and I'm going to sound so full of myself, because I mean, it is incredible to be, well, it was my own record, but to break it and improve it. I was upset because I didn't get the time that I wanted. And I think that's just how an athlete is. I'm a perfectionist, so there's always something to improve on. But after taking my time, taking a moment, considering everything, it definitely was a happy one to hear.
Okay, wonderful. Well, once again, congratulations. And then we have a question for Kgosi. How does a golf spotter work? Can you just explain their role, maybe, Kgosi?
So normally you get them at every club, and these are guys who help you spot your ball. I think even sometimes even fully sighted people prefer having one of them because you don't get to lose your ball in the course, and they can show you where the ball is. And because they understand the course, they can also guide you on which iron to play and how to play the course.
Can I ask, Kgosi, in the olden days when
Yes.
I played golf, and this is very, very long time ago, we used to call those people
Yes.
caddies. Is it the same thing, or do they have a more elevated role today?
I normally think caddies are the fancy guys, eh? But yeah, they're the same roles. Same roles. They're your coach on the course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then if you don't mind, I'm hogging the questions here, but I have one for Michele. Michele, how do you decide which challenge you're going to take on next? Because they're so varied, so mixed, and so different. How do you determine which one you're going to put onto your bucket list and okay, I'm going to do that one next? Is it something
That's actually a very good question. So the judo challenge I did because I'd done judo when I was younger. The fitness challenge I did, so they all come up for different reasons. So the fitness challenge I did was because it was something that I wanted to do when I was younger, and then I fell pregnant while I was still training. So it seemed like unfinished business. And then the singing at Artscape, I think that there were like, we had to have 50% singers, or 50% of the performers needed to be blind. So I was like, I'll sing. And then I was like, what have I signed up for? So that was just me being over enthusiastic, and then just everyone was like, yeah, cool, do that. And I was like, that was properly terrifying. And then Venda was something that was suggested to me because I was told it would be good for my soul, and it really was. And I feel there were so many things within that I felt were worth raising awareness about, like how the indigenous forests are being so eaten into. And I really resonated with that, with my eyesight going. And it really is something that is so important to keep these forests, for our global warming and everything. And then the surfing, while I kind of came across the surfing because of my daughter surfing, and at that stage I was looking actively for a challenge. I didn't want to, I feel I'm a bit old for judo. It's really a young person's competitive sport. It really is quite rough, once you're on the mat, the other person really wants to beat you, and it's contact. So I was looking for something. I didn't want to sing again because I just, I'm not the best singer for a start, I'll be honest there. So, and then also, so I was looking actively, and I thought of various options. I thought of running a marathon, but at that time I couldn't really motivate anyone to be my pilot runner, where they run with you, and I needed someone. And then I thought of doing tandem biking, but the tandem biking group is all the way up in northern suburbs. That was too far for me. So yeah, I came across the surfing, and it's become such a passion. I think that it's something I'll carry on as long as I can. But literally, if anyone suggests any challenge to me that can raise awareness, I'd probably be up for it. I'll probably give it a go.
That's a challenge for me. I'll think of something. Thank you, Michele.
Thank you.
I think that seems to be the end of the questions.
We do have a comment from Minati, who just says, wow, this webinar is so inspiring. And that is really true. I mean, I think we've had quite a variety of people of different ages and different interests. And I think what we need to really just say is that if you want to do it hard, badly enough, you'll find a way. you really will not let your vision stand in your way. And we really want to encourage everybody to go out and, as Michele said, find a challenge, maybe not quite as extreme as hers, but find something that challenges you, that puts you maybe outside of your comfort zone, but there's always people to help you. As Kgosi found when he ran, and as he said, I don't know if he said it in the meeting, but when he started running with that group, they didn't even know he had a visual problem. And they were so supportive of him. So don't be scared. Go out and do it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Really, really wonderful. And thanks, Karen, for fielding those questions. Really great. Yeah, I think just to reiterate, I mean, a really, really wonderful set of speakers, very inspiring. And yeah, I think the underlying message is never give up, no matter what your vision may be, or any obstacle that may be in your path. You know, don't let that define you and determine what you can and cannot do. I think just give it your best shot. And I think what's coming up came up with everyone's speech is that you have to try, you have to put in the yards, and yeah, I suppose don't be afraid to fail, and yeah, you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. So really, really inspiring, and thank you so much for that. And thank you to Claudette and Karen as well for such an informative speech from a medical and science side of things. I think it's really important, and things that all of us can take and bring into our daily lives. Yeah, at this point, I'd just like to, from a Retina South Africa side, please implore everyone to get in touch and help us do what we do, which is trying to find treatments and cures for inherited retinal disorders. And we need every South African who has a retinal disorder or an inherited retinal disorder to register with Retina South Africa, because once we have you as part of our membership, we can assist and push things forward to try and find treatments and cures for these various conditions. So please, if you know of someone who you think would be interested, please share our information, share our links to our website, which is www.retinasa.org.za. It's really wonderful information on there, and you can get all our contact information and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, various platforms. Also, at this point, viewers can assist Retina South Africa by nominating us as a beneficiary on the My School, My Village, My Planet platform, which you can register online at www.myschool.co.za. And yeah, essentially, for those of you that don't know, it is a card that you get, and when you swipe it, when you make a purchase at the Engine and Woolies stores, there may be others as well, Woolies or the store themselves contribute to the organization at no cost to you, and you can have up to 3 beneficiaries. So please go on and nominate Retina South Africa as one of your beneficiaries. It really helps us a great deal to do what we do, as we are a non-profit organization that relies on the charitable donations of all of you. So thank you very much, and yeah, please support us in any way that you can. It's been a wonderful webinar, and yeah, I think we have touched on some very important points, but the discussion doesn't stop there. So please get in contact with us and follow us on Facebook and on YouTube. and check out our other webinars that we have. We have a great list of webinars, some more medical and some more dealing with other aspects of visual and visual loss and going blind. So please check out Facebook and our YouTube channel as well for more information there. And I think that brings us to the end of this webinar. So I'd like to just thank everyone once again for being part of this. Thank you to all the speakers, Claudette, Karen, Alani, Kgosi, Michele. It's really been very informative and wonderful to hear all of the information. And I'd like to thank our viewers across the various platforms. Please continue to support us and follow us wherever you can. Yeah, please, if you didn't manage to get your question in, pop us an email or leave us a message on Facebook, and we'll respond to that as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you all, and stay safe and have a good evening further.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.